So this week I was going to be talking about batteries, and that is rechargeable batteries versus single-use batteries. So we're actually going to have to wait until next week for that one, because something has come up and I think it's quite important. Now, I don't really like to talk about politics at all unless it particularly pertains to climate change. And this week in the UK, the government have announced a new Green Deal. I'm not sure what they're calling it, a green revolution, I think. And it is really quite interesting. I'm not a particular fan of Boris Johnson or indeed Donald Trump, but I can't help feeling that Joe Biden's recent victory, I think I'm allowed to say that without the FBI hunting me down and breaking down my door. I can't help feeling though that his recent victory is going to be good for the future of the planet. In fact, vital for the future of the planet. But then out of nowhere, our very own self-styled Donald Trump Jr. prize cockwomble, Boris Johnson, has announced this list of green measures. And they're not too bad. So normally when I do these videos, I do a lot of research into these things. But today I'm going to take a break from that, and I'm really just going to read through the main points of this green revolution and give you my opinions. So in the coming weeks and months, I will probably do a video on each of these things that I would have researched. But I think it's hot news at the moment, and I think it's really interesting to go through it. Now, with most of these things, if I could just start with that, with most of these things, you can never do enough. And the government is coming under a lot of pressure. It's not enough, it's not enough. Well, it's never enough. But let's look at what they have done and decide whether we think it's a good idea or not. And really do please comment if you've got any opinions on any of this stuff at all. I'd love to hear them, especially as I'm going to be doing videos in the future on each item. So that would be great to get your views. So please do comment below. And if you care about this stuff, and you really should care about this stuff, please do subscribe. That would be great. Let's start with something that I think is a really good one, and that's electric vehicles. So basically what the UK government has said is that they're going to ban the sale of all petrol and diesel vehicles, domestic vehicles, by 2030, which is pretty incredible. So that is really, really good news. But here's the issue with that, and there is an issue with this. And that is they've obviously given in to pressure from the auto industry, who are still trying to sell petrol and diesel, and they've got these hybrid things. And anyway, you can still buy hybrids up to 2035. And if you look at the stats on hybrids, you will see that unless they're driven absolutely in exactly the right conditions, there is no benefit whatsoever to driving them from driving a petrol or diesel car, or very little. So they are greenwashing. Anyway, they've been extended to 2035, so people are still going to be buying this stuff. I expect I'm going to have to sell my car at some stage, which would be a shame. But it looks like I've got 15 years at least before they, while they're still selling petrol, so I can keep my my wonderful Alfa Romeo Spider, which I love. So good news on the electric cars. I really think that is groundbreaking and puts us ahead of almost any other country. So fantastic. Well done, Boris. Well done, Boris Johnson. Don't like to call him Boris. It makes him sound like he's my mate, and he's not. Johnson. Okay, let's hit the second one on my list, which is nuclear power. Now, nuclear power, I'm no expert, and I'm really not. As I said at the beginning of this, these are sort of my opinions. This is not researched in any way. This is simply stuff that I think I know, not stuff that I know I know. But nuclear power, it's really bloody expensive and it's dangerous. Unbelievably dangerous. If something goes wrong, you are screwed. We are screwed. And I think we're still chasing nuclear power as a green energy when it's really not a green energy. Because if something goes wrong, it's not green at all. It's really not green at all. So I think trying to expand nuclear power as a green energy is wrong, and I can't help feeling that this is based on plans they made 40, 50 years ago, and why they're sticking with this when we know now how dangerous and expensive it is. Why they're still doing it, I don't know. Third on my list, offshore wind farms. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Why wouldn't you? I mean, there's some talk that it may be bad to marine life, but it's not going to be anywhere as bad as our overfishing and the plastics, and it's just a no-brainer. And I think it's brilliant. The fact that the government thinks it's going to bring in hundreds of thousands of jobs is probably not to the UK at least, because we're so far behind the curve on this in terms of the technology. We can't have to import it, but of course we will. We'll be there with our shovels and our spades or whatever you dig under the ocean with. But so we'll have jobs there. But this is great, really great. And number 4 is public transport, cycling and walking. I should point out here that I haven't really got into the numbers on what the government is going to invest. But they're promoting these things, they're going to invest in them, and I will be able to get into that when I tackle them one at a time. But cycling, walking, public transport, brilliant. I walk and I cycle, and I drive about 1,000 miles a year. So the rest of it is walking and cycling and public transport. And with COVID, it's people have been walking more and cycling more for exercise. I see them walk past my house all the time, especially in the first wave, not so much now. So those things are happening, and I can see that the government is already doing something on this. They've turned the cycle lane outside of my house into a permanent cycle lane that you can't park on, rather than one of those ridiculous ones that's a cycle lane but cars park on it, makes it even more dangerous than it was. So that's a really good thing. People are walking more, people are cycling more, they need to walk and cycle even more. Unfortunately, public transport has taken a real hit because nobody wants to get on a train or a bus unless they have to. When I could travel, I would travel a lot by train. I've chosen where I live because I can get to places on the train, and it's a great way to travel, but at the moment nobody wants to do it. Let's hope that returns. Let's really hope that returns. If you want to get people back on public transport, you need to make it more reliable, and you probably, especially with trains, you need to make it cheaper. I travel by train as much as I possibly can, but I'm not everybody. For everybody else, you need to make it cheaper and more reliable. So that's where your incentives should be. And I really do hope that after COVID, that people will start to embrace public transport a little bit more. I still don't like buses. Okay, so number 5, I'm sorry. Number 5 is hydrogen. Hydrogen. I remember reading an article on this a couple of years ago, where I think it was Shell, I may have to check that, was suggesting as a think tank or whatever they do, it made the papers, was suggesting as hydrogen as the fuel of the future. And I remember reading it then and thinking, an oil company? Hydrogen? What's wrong with this picture? And so it is. So hydrogen requires natural gas at the moment for it to work. So that's why Shell are pushing it. So it becomes a fossil fuel. It might be greener, I don't know. I don't know enough about it. It may make natural gas greener than it was, more efficient, I don't know, but it requires natural gas. That's why Shell cared. I think it might be greenwashing. So not pleased with that one. But who knows? Watch this space. I am going to look at this more because it's really interesting. It sounds green, doesn't it? Hydrogen. But it doesn't look like it is. Let's see. Number 6. Basically, this is the government are going to pour more money into insulating our homes and buildings in the UK. Apparently, we have some of the leakiest buildings, whatever that is, in Europe. The government has actually put in some sort of, I think it was 3 billion, or was it? Hold on, I've got it here somewhere. Yeah, they put in a £3 billion scheme last year that's supposed to end in March to get housing stock better insulated, existing houses. There's been a really small uptake on it, and part of the reason, as I understand it, is that to offer these services to consumers, the companies have to get accredited. It's quite difficult to get accredited, and because it's for a short period of time, it's not worth the companies getting accredited. So therefore, if you want to take advantage of this scheme, there's nobody to do it for you. So they need to extend that scheme further. Hopefully this means they will, and this will be a good thing, because we waste a lot of energy through our homes not being particularly well insulated. My home is not particularly well insulated, and because I have pretty much given up my day job to do this, I don't have the money to actually to get that work done. So if I had some sort of grant, that would be amazing. That would be really good. I would do that for sure. So what we got next? So number 7 is tree planting. Tree planting, that old perennial. This is great. We have to keep planting trees. And again, I'm not getting into specifics here because I don't know the specifics. These are sort of the headlines of what the government has just announced it's going to do, what it's going to invest in, and the initiatives it's trying to push. And tree planting is one of those that they're going to continue to try and push, and so they should. Somebody's got to make up for all those bloody trees they're cutting down in Brazil. I think this is a good thing. I remember actually, oh God, that's going to give away my age, plant a tree in 73. And we're still doing it. We still need to be planting trees. That is fantastic. Plant a tree. Doesn't have to be 73. Just plant one. I don't know where we're supposed to plant them though. That's a future video. Carbon capture. Carbon capture. That definitely deserves a video. I think it's a really fascinating area. Really fascinating area. So basically with carbon capture is what they're going to do, since we've been taking all this carbon out of the ground in oil fields and mines and whatever. The idea with carbon capture is we put it back, we take the carbon out of the air, we actually put it back into the oil fields and whatnot. Again, I'm not sure on the detail, and I think it's great to be doing this stuff. But we've still got to stop. It doesn't mean we can continue to put carbon in the air just because we're bringing it back down again. Carbon capture, great idea, I think. I've read a little bit on it and it looks really, really fascinating. So that's good. Okay, and I think that the last one is really, again, really interesting. And the thing, if I'm understanding it correctly, is what governments should have been doing a long time ago, and it's basically it's the finance sector. It's actually hitting businesses with green tax and stuff like that. I'm not sure what's involved. I hope that is what this means. I hope it's the devil is in the detail, of course, but again, that will be interesting to see how they do on that. One of the things that I absolutely learned through this is corporations will not do stuff, with very few exceptions, and there are some exceptions, for the good of the planet. They will do it for the good of profit. Yesterday, Unilever announced that they're trying to push their plant-based food to 1 billion a year or something. I can't remember the exact figure. Unilever aren't doing that because they care about the bloody planet. They're doing that because there's been a sea change in their customers, and customers now are eating more plant-based food. That's why they're doing it. They don't give a shit about the planet. And so it is with almost every corporation out there. Every company is money driven. They can all say that they're not, but they are. So unless there's legislation that forces them to change their ways, or the public votes with their wallets or their purses, they're not going to change. So there is stuff that you can do, and that is to change your buying habits. But in the meantime, hopefully the government will do their bit, or at least this government will do their bit, and hopefully America will now do their bit too. America, USA, Joe Biden, do the same. I think he's going to. As I said at the start of this video, I'm not political, and whatever I may think about Donald Trump, I'm so glad he's gone. He was about as bad for the planet as you could possibly be. And so Joe Biden, I have great hopes. And hopefully you can follow, who would have ever thought I may have said that? Somebody else can follow Boris Johnson's lead. But he's done a pretty good job here. Of course there's more you can do. Of course there is more. There's always more, and I hope, and hopefully we will do more. But this is a really good start. Really good start, Mr. Johnson. Really bloody good start. But what do you think? Do you think we should be doing more? I mean, comment, please do comment below. Tell me what you think we should be doing. Because as I said, I'm going to do some more videos on this as the weeks and months go by. So it'd be really interesting to get people's views. What else do you think we should be doing? And really, what are you doing? What are you doing to reduce your personal carbon footprint? And what plans have you got in the future, in the weeks and months and years ahead? 7 years, that's all we've got. So next week I'm definitely going to be talking about batteries, and that's rechargeable batteries versus single-use batteries. And the numbers are so far off the scale, it will surprise you. And you will never buy another single-use battery in your life, hopefully, if you watch it. And that's before we even get into the environmental impact. So please do tune in next week. And if you care about this stuff, please do subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel. Like the video, share it. You can share it across any of the social media platforms. Comment, love to hear your comments. So hopefully you'll see me again next week, and thank you for watching. Thank you so much. And please remember, the biggest threat to our planet is the belief that somebody else will save it. Look at the clock. It's still ticking. Very crunchy as well. Christ, how much wrapping do you need? Look at that. How much wrapping do you need? God. Good though. Nah, screw the planet. Just kidding. The chocolate a bit thick. But seriously, good Maltesers, bad Maltesers. The people from Maltesers have so far declined to comment, but I'll be doing a thing on chocolates in general in a couple of weeks' time.